Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma is proud to present The Shasteen Show from London's in downtown Tullahoma. Brought to you by Southern Community Bank, Rogers Insurance Group, and Mission Collision. Now, here are your hosts, Scott Shasteen and Ken Kelly.
It is a chilly Monday in southern Middle Tennessee, our last show of November. And we welcome you downtown to London's, the home of the best steak in Tullahoma and the coldest beer and the best burger. It's happy hour. We've got room for you, even though we got a nice crowd here. Come on down to London's for Monday Night Football. The Titans and the Texans, TV screens all over this place. You'll have a good time. Come on down. We've got football to talk about, but not for much longer, partner. It's winding down. The high schools have determined who will play for a state championship. We'll go through those for you. And college football, of course, conference championship games coming this weekend. Lots to talk about, but let's open with a couple of minutes on this Titans-Texas contest. Tonight, Monday Night Football from Houston. And Ken, the Titans they're sort of walking the tightrope here. They're 5-5. The Texans have won 7 in a row. They're 7-3. Titans could fall 3 games back in the AFC South, and that's not a good spot to be.
No, 3 games back. I think tonight, I said it last week, is a must-win for the Tennessee Titans. Hey, they went to Dallas a few Monday night games ago, played very well, pulled that game out, and played one of their best games of the year, really throttled the Dallas Cowboys and won a big game. I think this game's even bigger. It's a divisional opponent. The Houston Texans are streaking. They've won 7 games in a row. They have one of the hottest quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Deshaun Watson, only his second season. Scott, he's playing spectacular.
Watson, Hopkins, Watt, Downey. Texans have got some superstars.
Yeah, they do got some superstars. And, they've had some injury at the wide receiver position, but the Titans are going to have to put it together tonight. They got to find some magic in Marcus Mariota, and they've got to do a really good job defensively containing Deshaun Watson and his dual threat ability. They really played well against him the first game in which the Titans won, but this may be a different Texans team that they're facing this time around.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson's he's getting better every week. He struggled early in the year, but he's getting better every week. Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit more about this game toward the end of the program. A little baseball news. The Braves look like they're going to acquire Brian McCann, former catcher in Atlanta. Looks like he's coming back to Atlanta. A young pitching staff can really use an experienced catcher.
Oh, yeah, he's a good catcher. McCann was with the Braves before. And speaking of baseball news, what about big Bryce Harper being the guest picker on the ESPN game day on Saturday morning for the Buckeyes at the Buckeyes-Michigan game on game day? That was pretty cool. I think he did pretty good on his picks.
Did not see that. We'll talk a lot of college football in last couple of segments of the show, but let's just sort of chew on the fact that it looks like Tyson Helton is gone as the offensive coordinator at the University of Tennessee. Appears to be the first choice to be named the new head coach at Western Kentucky, replacing Bobby Petrino. So I think a lot of Tennessee fans are happy about that.
Yeah, they should be happy about that. I mean, look, you got I'm flipping that game back and forth. We'll talk huge college football in the second half of the show, but I turned it on the second half. Early in the second half, Tennessee's behind. Tyson Chandler rips off a 75-yard run down the sidelines where he's not even breathed on and carries the ball 2 times, carries the ball 2 times the rest of the game. So I don't know what the offensive coordinator's thinking, because after that run, I'm thinking, well, this guy's going to run for 250 in the second half. He gets 2 carries. Preposterous.
Well, he is the former offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Western Kentucky and had a lot of success there. They put up some incredible offensive numbers. So hopefully, I guess Western Kentucky has better talent than Tennessee, and, maybe he can do that again.
Yeah, waste of talent. Jawan Jennings touches the ball, gets 2 catches for the game. And so there's some prominent names being thrown around and mentioned. So we'll see how that unfolds, as we look at that. Hugh Freeze one name mentioned, Scott. Kendall Briles, the former offensive coordinator with the Baylor Bears. Those are two names. Cliff Kingsbury fired at Texas Tech. And the former Florida Gator coach, and I think this guy would be the leading contender and most probability due to his connection with Jeremy Pruitt. He coached 4 years at Alabama with Jim McElwain, former head coach of the Florida Gators. You know, I say a match made in heaven for the Vols would be put Jim McElwain as the offensive coordinator and recruit Jalen Hurts to be your quarterback next year.
That would be a good match, but I do not like Jim McElwain as offensive coordinator. Look at the offenses that he had at Alabama. They were old school. They were run the ball behind that big offensive line, Heisman Trophy running backs. That's not today's game. That's not what Alabama does. That's not what your best teams are doing right now. So I'm a little sketchy on Jim.
I think
there.
Tennessee fans want an air show.
Well,
Art Briles, you free, spread them out, man.
Who's
and
winning?
Gash them. Yeah.
How are you winning now?
Yeah. Score 50
Not
game.
a lot of 3 yards in a cloud of dust anymore.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into some high school football before we get any further. And again, state championship games are decided, so we're going to go right down the line here based on when they're played. So we're going to start with Class 2A. That game will be played Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Time at Tucker Stadium there on the campus of Tennessee Tech in Cookeville. Trousdale County and Peabody. Not a lot of people saw this coming. Trousdale County knocks off undefeated Meigs County 32-29. Peabody beat Waverly 35-21 after beating Union City, which was my dark horse pick. So Class 1A, you know, you got to go with the traditional, or Class 2A, you got to go with the traditional powerhouse. Trousdale County, they've just won multiple state championships. I think their last one was 2013. I don't know if Peabody's ever won one or not, but 11 o'clock Thursday morning, Trousdale County and Peabody in Class 2A.
Yeah, so they get the, so to speak, 11 o'clock early SEC game, network game there, 11 o'clock start. In Trousdale County and Peabody. That'd be a good one.
Should be a good one. And so on Thursday you get 2-4-6. On Friday you get 1-3-5. So on Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock, a game that many of you might be interested in is the Class 4A state championship between defending champion Greenville and Haywood out of the bottom of the bracket. Greenville, all they did was beat Maplewood 43-8. Now, we've been to Maplewood twice. Greenville had to go to Maplewood. It was not a rainy day on Friday, I don't think. Best I remember, it was a really nice day, like 60 degrees. But Greenville went to Maplewood and beat them 43-8. Man, they scored 43 points on that Maplewood defense with Mr. Football winner Kane Ballard at quarterback. How good does that make you think the Greenville offense is?
Oh, man, very explosive, very powerful, very strong. I mean, I just saw a picture on Twitter of that quarterback, and I don't know how that guy looked like he was 6'5". He looked like Roethlisberger, man. That guy's a monster. They must have a heck of a ball team, man, to be able to, 43-8 over that Maplewood defense. And we saw them a couple times this year, and very stout, strong on all three levels, but 43-8, that's a wipeout.
And then coming out of the bottom of the bracket, this is a Haywood team that was 6-4, and they've knocked off Fayette-Ware, Ripley, Dyersburg. Dyersburg was 12-0. Haywood beat them Friday night 2 weeks ago, 47-14. And then they knocked off Springfield 49-14. So Haywood's bringing some athletes to this game.
Yeah, they're scoring some points too. So, it should be a pretty good matchup. We'll see Greenville, the Green Devils, certainly will be favored in that game to win, and that's what we expect.
And I'll not pick against those Green Devils.
No.
And then Thursday night at 7 o'clock, this I think has the potential, and 6A really you always think has the potential to be a great game because there's such big teams loaded with Division I talent. Oakland and Whitehaven, I mean, these are two teams that if they don't play for a state championship, they play in the semifinal round almost every year. Oakland beats Maryville 38-0 Friday night. That is the most unbelievable score. I thought Stratford, coming out 2-8, working their way through the playoffs was a story, but 38-0. Oakland beating Maryville after they had gone to Maryville earlier in the year and lost.
Yeah.
38-0.
Well, we said last week, Maryville did lose their top running back in that game, a junior, to a broken leg, and so he didn't get a play against Oakland. He's a Tennessee commit, really good running back. But I think Oakland, they certainly exercised some demons in that game. 38, made no doubt about it. I thought they was going to get the win, but not by that much. I expected a tight contest, I'm sure, like everyone else did.
Whitehaven knocks off Ravenwood 43-24. Whitehaven always has 6, 7, 8 Division I players, but sure not going to pick against Oakland Thursday night at 7 o'clock.
No.
The Patriots are rolling. And now, Smash, you help me out here. Can listeners to 93.9 The Duck hear Whitehaven and Oakland Thursday night at 7 o'clock?
I don't believe so. TSSAA, I don't think will allow it.
I've never heard that. Have seen local broadcast crews.
I'll check, but I don't think that we have a man that's going up there.
Okay.
I'll check again, though.
Smash says he doesn't think so. So that.
Scott, what are you doing Thursday night?
Not that. Probably not that. So on Friday, it's the Division II team. So we went through these last week. We'll do this pretty quick. At 11 o'clock is Division II Class A. That's Friendship Christian and Davidson Academy. And we admittedly know nothing about these teams for the most part. On Friday at 3 o'clock, it's CPA and BGA for you new to the area. That's Christ Presbyterian Academy and Battleground Academy. They'll play at 3 o'clock in Division II Class AA. And then Division II Class AAA, Brentwood Academy, 3-time defending state champions against the Memphis University School, MUS. That's 7 o'clock Friday night. And all these games are going to be, well, on LightTube, it's Channel 9 is where all these games are broadcast. If you have different cable outlets, it's MyTV 30, I believe, is what that outlet is called. So check your local listings there. Smash gives the word, and I thought we would because I know local crews can if you want to. Oakland, Whitehaven, 7 o'clock Thursday night, live right here on the Duck. So watch the Channel 30 and mute the sound and listen to the guys.
Do what I do with Gary Danielson on Saturdays. Mute him out and listen to your favorite radio broadcaster.
I find that hard to believe that you and the biggest Alabama fan in America do that.
I did it Saturday.
Because you all know every word Gary Danielson says. So how can you mute somebody and not listen to him and then know every word he says?
I gave him 3 chances. I was there watching with my son, my wife, and I said, I can't do it anymore. Clicked him off, turned Eli on. I said, okay, second half started. Let's give him another chance. Oh, no, I can't do it. Cut him off. It's 3 different times, Scott. Honest to goodness. I did it, man. I'm guilty.
And he loves Alabama. I don't understand why y'all don't relish
3 times
every word that he says. We'll be back with Saturday's high school state championship lineup and start talking some college football because it is winding to the end. It's Monday night. We're live at London's, driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma. It's the Shasteen Show, 93.9 The Duck.
Have you heard the news? The Russell Barnett Automotive family has launched its new and improved website. That's russellbarnett.com. With over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, then look no further than russellbarnett.com. Online service appointments, customer testimonials, and vehicle history reports, this website has it all. We're the largest Middle Tennessee family-owned dealership with 5 locations to choose from. russellbarnett.com, and why buy anywhere else?
Builder Supply in Tullahoma is your one-stop for all the building materials you need for your next project. Their paint center has a full line of Benjamin Moore paints to brighten any room. Trust the experts, Bubba, Joe, and the gang at Builder Supply, 301 South Atlantic Street, Tullahoma.
Sample Family Restaurant in Estill Springs is the place to go when you're hungry for good country cooking. Open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Friday nights, 4 to 7:30, with Friday night trivia starting at 6:15. Breakfast is served all day, every day at Sample Family Restaurant in Estill Springs.
Think there's only one way to earn a college degree? It's time to explore your alternatives at Motlow State Community College. With our diverse degree options, a variety of course formats, and convenient locations, students can customize a college experience to fit any lifestyle, budget, or schedule. There are countless ways to get the education you need. Come explore them with us at Motlow State Community College.
You're watching The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma on LightTube Channel 23 and 93.9 The Duck. Now back to Scott and Ken at London's in downtown Tullahoma.
6:17 on this chilly Monday, about an hour away from kickoff. The Titans and the Texans from Houston. Big screens all over London's. Come on down, have a steak, and watch a little professional football. So, state championship games on Saturday. We begin with Class 1A at 11 a.m. Saturday at Tennessee Tech in Cookeville. It is Whitwell, a 24-21 upset winner over defending state champion Greenback, and Whitwell will take on Cornersville, who beat Lake County 21-8. There's a lot of Middle Tennessee pulling for the Cornersville Bulldogs out of Lawrence County. That's exciting, man. That again, I've talked a lot about this program over the last couple of years, but that Cornersville program was a doormat year after year after year. 1-9, 2-8, 0-10. They're 14-0 playing for a state championship against Whitwell, another community that, you know, most of us know where it is and have at least been by there, if not through there, and doggone it if they didn't beat Greenback.
That's going to be a dogfight right there, no doubt about it. And, these boys, Cornersville, they've turned the corner, so to speak, based on those records you just gave out. 14-0 this year. They beat Huntington a couple weeks ago in what was perceived as a huge upset. And so it's not over for them. One more game, and they'll be one more win. They'll be state champs.
Have I mentioned that the Rowdy Rascals are right here? Yeah, the Rowdy Rascals in the house on a cold Monday.
On a blustery Monday night.
It hurts. It hurts this old man. All right, Class 3A will be played Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock in Cookeville. Defending state champion Alcoa and Covington comes out of the bottom half of the bracket. They finally end Stratford's miracle season. Covington beat Stratford 20-14 in what was a pretty tight game.
Yeah,
Covington 14-0 coming into this thing out of the bottom of the bracket. Got good talent there in West Tennessee. Can Covington knock off Alcoa?
Anything's possible, my friend. We're not playing 7-game series, first 1 to 4. Hey, it's one game.
You play
whoever plays
to win
best.
the game.
That's right. Whoever plays best that day gives Covington hope.
I'm going to say
Alcoa.
that the winningest coach in the history of Tennessee high school football, Gary Rankin, and his Alcoa Tornado win, I think it would be their 18th state championship if they can beat Covington.
Man, they're getting greedy with those things, aren't they? 18 of them.
And I think Maryville's won 16 or 17.
Jeez.
And those schools are about 15 miles apart.
Yeah.
It's just phenomenal what they've done.
They breed football players there, that's for sure.
Finally, Saturday night at 7 o'clock from Cookeville, Class 5A state championship. Knoxville Central beats Steve Matthews and his Knoxville Catholic team 24-19 last week. Henry County tops Beach 13-7. Henry County and Knoxville Central will play for the state championship there. Knoxville Central entered the playoffs at 8-2. Henry County at 9-1. That's probably a pretty good matchup there. You know, it's interesting that former Tullahoma coach Joe Gaddis, whose Oak Ridge team was knocked out by Steve Matthews' Knoxville Catholic team, used to coach at Henry County and won a state championship.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, Gaddis used to be at Henry County, and quite a run by Steve Matthews and Knox Catholic. You know, they had big Kate Mays last year, and I think they were supposed to be stronger last season. This season, they narrowly missed the state championship.
So Knoxville Central and Henry
Final
County
four.
play at 7 o'clock Saturday. And that's your lineup. 9 games, 9 state championship trophies will be awarded Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in Cookeville.
Exciting time for those young men and coaches and their fans.
It is, and it's a lot of fun. I've been blessed to have the opportunity to see a number of those state championship games and to actually call 2 or 3 of them on the TSSAA audio side, not on the TV side. They get the big dogs. Mike Keith does some of those games, but it's a lot of fun to be up there. It's amazing how many of those games are blowouts, though, just to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Very seldom do you get a state championship game that's really competitive.
Yeah, and I don't know why that is, why one team, you know, gets stage fright, but these teams that have been there, you know, like you're talking about Alcoa and the Maryvilles, they normally do good in these situations just because they've been there. They're you know, battle tested, so to speak, and they just know how to win in those big games. Although Maryville's not going to be there this year, I think the Patriots are going to grab them one.
Well, East Tennessee really dominated state championship games last year, and this year you've got, you know, a couple of East Tennessee teams that are not going to be there that are normally there in Maryville and Greenback. And so Middle Tennessee and West Tennessee taking a little bit of East Tennessee's thunder this year. Again, last year, East Tennessee just dominated.
Yeah.
So not going to happen this year.
And, you know, there's, you know, really the Middle Tennessee, we've seen it, you know, talking of college recruiting, signing day comes up in December. It's upon us, you know, once again. But you really see how heavily the mid-state is being recruited. You see Urban Meyer coming in and picking out players. Ed Orgeron, Jacoby Stevens out of Oakland. Saw him make some big plays in that A&M game Saturday night in that 7 overtime game. You know, so there's athletes in Middle Tennessee that seems to be getting more and more abundant as the years go by for some reason.
So that's your high school football wrap-up. College basketball. Let's touch there a little bit. Did you get an opportunity to watch any of the Tennessee-Kansas game?
Yeah, that game went into overtime, man. Yeah, just very impressive. You know, Bill Self, the Kansas coach, just amazed at his game against, you know, top teams. But Rick Barnes and the Vols, you know, that's 2 teams that was, I think, ranked in the top 4 that may be there in the Final Four. I mean, you saw kind of a preview of that. And that's what I love about college basketball, these early, big matchups that these teams that play. You saw Xavier and Duke, Tennessee and Kansas. Hey, man, that's great basketball right there. And that's going to help these teams. It's a measuring stick to show you early. You know, hope you can get through the SEC slate without any big key injuries. But those are the games that help you when Sweet 16 and tournament time comes around.
Gonzaga moves to number 1 in the nation.
Kind of shocked me because all I heard was how unbeatable Duke was, you know. And Gonzaga takes them out, man.
And jumped over Kansas. Tennessee falls to number 6. Not much of a fall for the Volunteers. You know, I saw a couple of things that Tennessee's going to have to address if they're going to have a chance to go to the Final Four. They got to get really more consistent, better point guard play. I think Jordan Bone is an outstanding player, but he's got to be more consistent. He's got to score more. He's got to get more assists. Grant Williams obviously just took over that game in the second half. Tennessee had a lead. Looked like the Volunteers were headed for a victory. Grant Williams fouled out. Kansas caught him and beat him. Admiral Schofield did not have a great shooting game. Tennessee's got the. You know, you just can't rely on one guy at the end of games, especially a guy like Grant Williams, who is prone to getting fouls because the other team knows they're going to go they're going to go right at him, try to get him on the bench, and that's what Kansas did. And Kansas's big guy, Azubuike, he had 4 fouls for the longest time, and Tennessee didn't go at him. So, you got to get – Tennessee's going to have to be more consistent. They got to have more balanced scoring, I think, to make a Final Four run.
Those are great points, and I think Grant Williams did control that game down the stretch, scoring most of all of Tennessee points, but they do have to find other scores in clutch time. I also was pretty impressed with the Auburn Tigers. Watched them play Duke Blue Devils in a tournament game. I think that one was maybe in Maui, but they put up a good fight against Duke, and that game was relatively close as well.
How about Alabama? How has Alabama started in college basketball?
I have no clue. I'm tracking the football team right now. So
really,
yeah, all the talk in the SEC basketball is about the Tennessee Vols right now. Tennessee, Kentucky, Auburn. I don't know. I think they want to beat a pretty good team the other day.
NCAA
I can't remember who it was.
basketball. Let's look at the rankings.
Like 79, 72. I can't remember. I saw the score flash up, but just with Thanksgiving weekend, it's been for me. So pro football, college. It's just been. Man, football overload for me.
Gonzaga, Kansas, Duke, Virginia, Nevada. Wow. Nevada, 5th in the nation. Tennessee, 6th. Auburn is 8th. Kentucky is 10th.
10th. Well, that's bad for them, isn't it?
And
10th?
Mississippi State is 25th. And in others receiving votes, I go all the way down to Davidson, who just got 1 vote. Florida got 3, and I don't see Alabama anywhere.
No.
They're
going to go through some growing pains. They lost their big point guard, Colin Sexton, last year. And, in Vanderbilt's got a good team. They're not in the top 25, but I think their point guard hurt his foot, so he's going to be out an extended time. I saw a 5-star point guard that they signed. They signed 2 5-stars. By the end of the season, if them boys get healthy, watch out for the doors. They'll be tough, too.
I'm disappointed in Avery Johnson and his Alabama Crimson Tide. I don't understand why y'all can't win consistently in basketball.
Well, they did well last year. They got knocked out by Villanova, the eventual national champions. Pretty ugly. They got beat down in that game, but hey, Villanova wore everybody out. So no shame in that.
Alabama fans aren't they calling for Avery Johnson's head?
No, there was talk about Avery jumping to the NBA and taking a job there, but I think Avery Johnson doing a great coach and doing an excellent job. He just needs some more recruiting, some more time.
I was in the airport Wednesday, and the Tennessee State Tigers came through, and they had just been out to California and were headed to play Kentucky. They lost by 16, 17 points to Kentucky.
Not bad.
Gave a pretty good show, and it was good to see Jerry Nichols, former Motlow State head coach, now assistant coach at Tennessee State. It was good to see him. Predators they won 6 in a row. They're 17-6. They are tied for the best record in the National Hockey League with the Tampa Bay Lightning, both of them 17-6 records. So the Predators are right where they're supposed to be.
Right where they need to be.
Yeah. They're going to win the Stanley Cup this year. Have you heard that?
Beating smashes expectations.
Have you heard that?
Yes,
I've
heard it on a certain show here.
Cup?
A certain sports radio show. I heard that.
I've tried to stretch this out as much as I could. But we're going to have to talk college football. And we're going to have to talk Tennessee and Vanderbilt. So we'll get to that next. Driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma, live downtown at London's. It's the Shasteen Show, 93.9 The Duck.
Have you heard the news? The Russell Barnett Automotive family has launched its new and improved website. That's russellbarnett.com. With over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, then look no further than russellbarnett.com. Online service appointments, customer testimonials, and vehicle history reports, this website has it all. We are the largest Middle Tennessee family-owned dealership with 5 locations to choose from. russellbarnett.com, and why buy anywhere else?
Do you need more? More golf, hunting, or camping? More basketball, soccer, and baseball? Do you need more football? Do you just need more sports? LightTube's digital sports tier has more sports. Offering 12 additional sports channels for only $3 additional a month, What are you waiting on? Call 455-4515 and get more today.
Get the gig. Get the world's fastest internet with LightTube. That's 1 gig down, 1 gig up internet speeds for only $89.95 per month. Call LightTube today to upgrade and get the gig. Call us at 455-4515 to learn more. LightTube. Local people, local service.
You're watching The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma on LightTube Channel 23 and 93.9 The Duck. Now back to Scott and Ken at London's in downtown Tullahoma.
It's cold, and we're by the door, so you figure that out. Ken, Mark Houston predicted that Tennessee would go 5-7 over the course of the season, and Mark Houston is a strong supporter of this show. He's here almost every week. We really appreciate his support and his feedback. But I just want to acknowledge the fact that he predicted 5-7 for the Tennessee Vols, and doggone it if they didn't finish 5-7.
He fooled me, man. I called him crazy in the preseason. I said, no, they're bowl bound. They're bowl bound, and I thought they would be. Look, they had 2 chances to get one. They lost to 37 points by Missouri. Everything's set up. You still got all your goals in front of you. Beat Vandy, own the state, 6-6, bowl game, 15 practices, recruiting, sounded a good class, top 15 class.
So all of it just
not
out
all
the
of
window.
it, but very disappointing.
You think Jeremy Pruitt should be fired?
No, but I think the offensive coordinator should, and I think that's basically they might have ran him off.
He's getting to be a head coach.
Yeah.
So you don't think Tennessee's bowl bound at 5-7?
I don't think they are. Smash says yes. Look, the way it went down, they made Kyle Shermer look like Phillip Rivers.
Was he 31 of 35 or something?
31 of 35, completes his first 15. Amazing. That guy looked like Joe Montana out there, or Steven Rivers, Steve Rivers.
Tennessee.
Phillip Rivers. Rivers.
Maybe it was Jimmy Rivers or Billy Rivers or Floating Rivers. Wow. Where to even begin? After beating Kentucky, who came into the game ranked 9th in the nation. Tennessee beats Kentucky, and in Ken, they quit.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if the seniors or the juniors or the sophomores or the freshmen or half of them or 2 of them or all of them or the coaches. I don't know who. Somebody quit.
Well, that's what I was talking to a couple of my buddies on Saturday, and I texted them. I said, Tennessee has no heart. I said they quit. I said they don't want to win this game. They don't want to go bowling. They're not playing to win. And you give the ball to Tyson Chandler twice after he runs a 75-yard touchdown. Jennings catches 2 passes. Chandler touches the ball 8 times. Their kicker punted 8 times. What kind of offensive game plan is that? If you got a hot quarterback on the other side, run the football. Give it to your playmaker, man. Let him touch it 20 times. They have no formula, no blueprint offensively that warrants giving your best running back the ball 8 times or 8 touches in a game. It's unfathomable. It's ridiculous. There will be no Tennessee fans upset that Tyson Helton has left Tennessee and is a new football coach at Western Kentucky, as we believe is going to happen. So get a new offensive coordinator in there. And another thing that a lot of people say to me, this is all Butch's fault. Well, you know what? Jeremy Pruitt's been there since last December. He brought his own strength and conditioning coach in. He hired every assistant coach he wanted. Phil Farmer is the athletic director that he can lean on for all kinds of advice he wants. You got 100,000 fans that have never give up on you. You got some of the best facilities in college football. No, Tennessee, it ain't Bush Jones' fault no more. He ain't your coach no more. Quit blaming him. 5-7, Jeremy Pruitt. This season's on you, sir.
Yeah. Wow. I couldn't agree more. Now, I'm not giving up on Coach Pruitt, and I think that he can turn it around. But I agree with you. I sort of, looking at social media after the game Saturday, I just sort of got tired of the talk about Butch Jones and this and that. Like you said, I mean, Jeremy Pruitt's been there, for a year now,
Yes.
since December?
Yep.
So went through a spring practice, and, it's one thing when you get beat by Alabama and Georgia, you're out-talented. And I thought Tennessee played hard in those games, played hard against South Carolina. I don't know how hard they played against Florida, but didn't play hard against Charlotte. Tried to lose, they just couldn't. But when, effort is, to me, it's not a player thing. That's when it's a coaching thing. Jeremy Pruitt's going to have to learn to motivate, because there was no motivation.
Yeah, you clearly looked early in the game of those two teams, both fighting for a bowl berth, 5 and 6, and one team's not that much more talented than the other one. It's just a matter of who wanted to go to a bowl game and whose players wanted it most. And if the players are not motivated, to me, that's the coach's fault. You can blame it, call it out to players, but the coaches have to amp them up, let them have some fun, get excited, and play the game to win. Doug Dickey, former Tennessee athletic director, said Tennessee would always be measured by what they did against Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. But since 2012, against Missouri, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and South Carolina, Tennessee is 13 and 15. It's been too long. There's no more excuses. It's time for Tennessee to put a coaching staff together that's going to put a winning product out on the field. They've lost for too long. I mean, I'm getting annoyed of watching it. Really, I am. I'm an Alabama fan. I watch Tennessee play, but it's ridiculous what they did the last 2 games. It's ridiculous what they did this season. I'm not going to call it a success. 5 and 7 is a major disappointment for Tennessee, and I'm going to tell you why. Because 6 out of their 12 losses was by 25 points or more. You have 2 chances to win 1 game to go to a bowl game. You lay an egg at home and lose by 37 to Missouri, who got beat 15-14 by Kentucky, who you beat Kentucky the week before, and then you come out and lose by 25 points to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is not the Green Bay Packers, okay? It ain't. It just. I don't know what else to say about it other than that. That's as simple as I can put it.
Well,
No
you've
excuse.
said a lot. You've said a lot of things that I could have said, but I'm glad you said them, because you said them very well. As a Tennessee fan, it's the season obviously is disappointing. The result at the end is disappointing. We all wanted to be 7-5 or 6-6 and in position to go to a bowl. There's no question about that, but it is so disappointing to now have to get another offensive coordinator. Poor Jarrett Garantano. This is going to be his 4th offensive coordinator. It'll be his 4th year at Tennessee. I mean, success is almost impossible when you have that kind of turnover. And I think a lot of us being Tennessee fans, were just so hopeful that Jeremy Pruitt was putting together a staff that could stay together and, be working today towards next year. Instead, he's interviewing people and whatever, offensive coordinator. It's not that I wanted Tyson Helton to stay. It's just disappointing to have to be doing this again.
Yeah, well, that's a great point on the 4th offensive coordinators in 4 years for Jarrett Guarantano. And, it's going to be a big thing going to the offseason. I mean, every microscope's always on the quarterback. Is Jarrett Guarantano the man to lead this team next year? You look at the free agent market, so to speak, in college football. You got Kelly Bryant transferring out of Clemson. You got Jalen Hurts from Alabama, I think those are my first two calls. You call them up and you try to get one of those two guys in there to lead this program and jumpstart this recruiting, because you need a top 15 class. You need to fortify that offensive line. Hope Trey Smith can come back next year and move to guard on that offensive line. You can build on those young cornerbacks and these few guys that you redshirted defensively, like Greg Emerson, a top 100 recruit, J.J. Peterson at linebacker. Hope that you can get Owen Papu to come in as a 5-star linebacker and put Wanya Morris on that offensive line with maybe Darnell Wright. And then you got the makings of climbing back up the ladder. But it's time for it to happen, and Tennessee needs some good things to happen right now, immediate with his signing class, starting his first class now with 2 signing days in December.
I'll go along with some of that, but I'm going to defend Jarrett Garantano. When the offensive game plan looked cohesive, when the offensive line gave him time to throw, or even when it didn't, and he was on the run, he throws pretty good. He runs pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, he needs to put on about 10 or 15 pounds of muscle, and he needs to learn how to duck.
Yeah.
Because he don't know how to duck, or they need some kind of signal. He needs to develop that sense that I'm fixing to get, hit from the side here.
Yeah, it's a shame. He has gotten hit so many times. I mean, I can't really think of a college quarterback that has absorbed a physical beatdown as he has this year, and certainly in the SEC, maybe Arkansas.
So, I believe Tennessee can win with him. Is the point I'm making? If we bring in 5, I don't know how many fifth-year transfers are going to come in after what Keller Chris went through, hardly getting to play. Not that he should have. Garantano was better than him. But I'm not sure how many other guys are going to transfer in after seeing how much Chris got to play. But all those other positions, Tennessee needs a lot of help, including the defensive secondary. Did the freshmen have some good moments? Yes.
Yeah.
Did they look like freshmen Saturday? Absolutely. Missed tackle after missed tackle.
I think you're going to see a purge in Knoxville. You're going to see some scholarships evaporate. The players even came out and said that there was an article that came out in the last 24 hours of the players saying that there was going to be a purge, that until this roster, the cancers, so to speak, were removed from the rosters, they were never going to be what they need to be. And so I think you're going to see some wholesale changes throughout that roster.
What do you think that means?
I think it means that these guys that are not buying in, that talk back, that show negative body language, that argue with coaches, I think they're automatic. Those guys go first, and I think there's quite frankly some guys on that team that are not D1 football players, and I think that Jeremy Pruitt has probably gotten okay to zap them out as well, and I think that's what's going to happen. You're going to see these transfers come in, and you're going to see them sign a full allotment of 25 players plus a bunch of grad transfers, and you're going to see up to 35 new players on that roster, not 25, because they're going to bring in about 8 to 10 grad transfers. That's what you're going to see.
Well, I just find it curious, the guys who aren't SEC caliber players and that sort of thing. I understand, but I don't know. I want to know who these guys are that are the cancers.
Yeah, I do. And they were not named, but I will tell you this. And you look at this, the last 4 years. You go by the recruiting rankings. These people are not always experts. It's not a perfect science, but it's a pretty good indicator. Tennessee has averaged 13.75 in the last 4 years. That means that they were ranked around 14th, if you round that up, in the nation, in the country. What has happened that is not transferring to top 25 seasons by the end of the year? The SEC had 7 teams finish in the top 25 this year, and let's see, Mississippi State, Kentucky. I'll just start out with that one. Kentucky, how did they turn it around so quick? Not so quick. It took, 4 years, this guy? There 4 years. Number 16, Bush Jones is gone. Jeremy Pruitt, in 2 or 3 years, Tennessee fans expect you to be in the top 20. Okay, 3 years, you need to be number 16 or better.
There's a goal. I don't want to wait 3 years, but there's a goal. All right, one more break. We'll come back, run through some of last week's results, and pick some games for next week. Driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma, live from London's. It's the Shasteen Show, 93.9 The Duck.
Trucks, trucks, and more trucks. Keith Barnett here with the Russell Barnett Automotive family, and we have your next truck. From the Ford F-Series, the Ram, Chevrolet, or the GMC, then look no further than the Russell Barnett family. With over 350 new and pre-owned trucks to choose from, now is the time to buy. Stop by one of our 5 locations. That's Russell Barnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Chevrolet GMC, Ford of Winchester, and Russell Barnett Ford and Kia of Tullahoma, or visit us on the web at russellbarnett.com. Why buy anywhere else?
I'm working with a home buyer from Louisiana, and he asked me what type of internet access we have in Tullahoma. So I told him all about LightTube, and he said, "You're kidding me. There's fiber optics available in Tullahoma?" And I said, "Not only that, but it's great service, most reliable. You get to work with people in Tullahoma, and it's awesome." And he said, "People need to know in Tullahoma how lucky they are."
Think there's only one way to earn a college degree? It's time to explore your alternatives at Motlow State Community College. With our diverse degree options, a variety of course formats, and convenient locations, students can customize a college experience to fit any lifestyle, budget, or schedule. There are countless ways to get the education you need. Come explore them with us at Motlow State Community College.
You're watching The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma on LightTube Channel 23 and 93.9 The Duck. Now back to Scott and Ken at London's in downtown Tullahoma.
Welcome back to London's in this final segment, 6:47. It's Monday. That means Monday Night Football. The Titans and the Texans will be on in about 15 big screen TVs here at London. Ken, man, Saturday night just kept going and going and going. What was it, 74 to 72?
Yeah, I mean, you think that's an old UCLA Bruin Notre Dame basketball game back in the John Wooden days in the early 70s. But yeah, incredible. 74-72, Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher gets the big win over Ed Orgeron and LSU. What a game, man. So I'm watching the last few seconds of it in regulation. About 30 seconds left. Kellen Mond throws a pass over the middle. It's intercepted. I ran to the store.
Orgeron gets the Gatorade bath?
Yeah, gets the Gatorade bath. I took off to the store before the Gatorade bath. It's about 10 o'clock at night, 9:30, 10 o'clock, quarter till 10, something like that. I get back, flip the channel back on, this game's in overtime. I say, what in the world happened? 7 overtimes later, we finally had a winner, but man, what an incredible game. It's been replayed over and over and over again. A crushing loss for LSU, probably knocks them out of a New Year's Six bowl game.
Game of the weekend.
Yeah, it was the game of the weekend, and 7 overtimes. I witnessed Tennessee and Alabama 5 overtime game. I was there. 2003, Tennessee beat Alabama in a 5 overtime game. I thought that was something. There's been some multi-overtime games. I remember Arkansas against Ole Miss a few years back in a game that Arkansas won and probably that put Bama back in the playoffs. But this one kept them all. 7 overtimes. There's been a couple 7 overtime games, but this was the highest scoring football game, I believe, in FBS history. Is that right?
It was.
Yeah. So great game and lots of high scoring. That was the highest scoring game. Let's talk about a couple of high scoring games, and not in SEC action, but in other action that were big games. That's really chaos Saturday, shakedown Saturday. The Ohio State Buckeyes put a big down on Jim Harbaugh. Harbaugh now 4-0. The first Michigan coach to start out 0-4 against the Buckeyes. They lose 62-39. And what some had called the best defense in college football. What say you about the Wolverines and that mighty defense?
It's not mighty. Michigan's offense is stuck in the, I don't know if it's the 70s, but at least the 90s. Yeah. Harbaugh needs some additional help there. But, I'm definitely not an Ohio State fan. But I love seeing Michigan get their butts kicked.
Well, Ohio State, they boat raced them 62-39, just too many athletes on the offensive side of the ball, and they just exposed Michigan. And look at the other game. So the other team, so now Ohio State has put them in a position. They're going to play Northwestern in the Big Ten Championship. They have a chance to get in the college football playoff along with the Oklahoma Sooners, who won a 59-56 game. Kyler Murray over Will Greer Friday night. Did you watch any of that one?
Yep, saw a little bit of that one.
Was that not the absolute worst defense on both sides that you've ever seen in your life?
That's where football's going.
Oh, man.
That's just where it's going.
Yeah, well.
You see it in pros.
Yeah.
Right? You saw 50. Did we see the highest scoring NFL game?
Monday night.
Last Monday night between Philly and Kansas City, L.A. and Kansas City. So, that's where football's going.
Oh, that's where style points is. That's where these spread offenses are going. And I think you can attribute it to the dual athlete quarterbacks now. But back in the good old days, you just saw the straight drop back guys that could gunsling it. These dual threat quarterbacks open up so much dimension on offense, and the speed of these players now, and the rules changes with the targeting has changed everything. But still, to win championships, it's a line of scrimmage game. You got to run the ball, you got to be able to stop the run, and you got to pressure the quarterbacks. And that's why I think there's still 3 teams that got an opportunity to win the national championship, and Ohio State and Oklahoma are not 2 of them because they do not have the defense. They do not have the balance on both sides of the football. Very good offensive teams. I think Oklahoma and Ohio State are both better football teams than undefeated Notre Dame. Okay, Notre Dame 24-17 over USC the other night. Notre Dame is not explosive on offense. They're better defensively than Ohio State and Oklahoma is, but I still think they would lose. They're not going to be able to score with both those teams. And so we're going to plan this out.
You just made my point. Okay. Notre Dame's better on defense, but they're not going to be able to score with Oklahoma or Ohio State or Alabama or Clemson or Georgia. So defense doesn't win championships anymore. It helps, and you got to have guys who can get after the quarterback. But it's about scoring 55 points.
But you do got to slow the other team and stop the other team somewhat. Okay, now there's 3 teams I haven't mentioned. You just mentioned them. Okay, I mentioned everybody except the 3 best teams in the country, which are Alabama, Georgia, and Clemson. Georgia second. The SEC championship is the de facto national championship, and I'm going to tell you why. Clemson's undefeated, but they give up 500 yards plus passing to South Carolina, who Georgia boat raced. They give up 35 points, win 36-25. The fans in Clemson murmur. It gets back. Dabo Swinney hears it and says, look, I'm not going to listen to this chatter. We're 12-0. These fans are not happy with what I'm doing. I'll go somewhere else. And he came out in the media and said that. So he's not going anywhere. 12-0. He's a great coach. But those 3 teams are clearly better than anybody else in the country. I think that only one SEC team is going to get in. I don't buy that Alabama's going to lose and they're going to put 2 SEC teams in. I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think the committee's going to do it. Tony Barnhart thinks it's going to happen. Do you agree or disagree? He says no matter what, after this weekend, even if Alabama loses, they're in the playoff. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I absolutely agree. And I've told you that the whole time.
You have.
Alabama has been so dominant and so great all year. How could you keep them out of the playoffs because they lose one game and replace them by teams who also lost one game? I mean, if Alabama loses one game, it's going to be to number 3 Georgia.
Yeah.
So how could you keep them out?
Yeah, probably the number 4
Just
Georgia.
because
I think they'll put Notre Dame
in the South.
3. You're right. At 588 points, the first team in college football that won every regular season game by 20-plus points. The last team to do it, Yale in 1888.
I remember that.
Yeah, how about that?
I was there.
Your great-great-great-great-grandfather's cousin played on that team, right? But, so it's going to be interesting. The College Football Committee is going to earn their pay. They're going to earn their due. We're going to see what happens in that game. But we also saw, Georgia Bulldogs. They're peaking at the right time. Scott, they've got a legitimate shot to upset and beat Alabama in this game. In this SEC championship.
Are we moving on to this Saturday's games?
That's just a little teaser. We got 5 minutes, so we'll just keep that. We'll come back to that one here in just a minute. So we covered national scene. A&M 74, LSU 72. Jim Harbaugh 0-4 against Ohio State. Not only did Michigan blow it, West Virginia lost. Washington State, they blew it. They had the most to gain. All they had to do was win the Apple Cup, beat the Washington Huskies. They blow it at home. And they lose, Scott. Disappointed in Washington State Saturday night. Yeah, Mike Leach, typically when it comes down to the biggest game, the one you got to win to get over the hump, his teams don't win those games. Enjoyed watching that game in a snowstorm. That was actually Friday night, flipping back and forth between that Oklahoma game and that Washington State game. So 7 teams finished in the top 25. A 1-year anniversary, 1 year ago today, and I was going to bring this up to you because you was part of this parade, Scott. On this day a year ago, Schiano happened. Vol fans revolted against the hiring of Ohio State University defensive coordinator Greg Schiano. Phil Fulmer replaced John Curry and hires Jeremy Pruitt as head coach. Smash gives the fist bump there. Your thoughts on the 1 year anniversary of the Schiano? The greatest fan victory in certainly college football history. I mean, college football fans of a school stopped the hiring of a head coach. The word Schiano went from being a noun to a verb. Like you've been mossed. You've been Schiano'd. When you've been Schiano'd, everybody steps up and gets you gone. So I've never seen a Twitter or social media meltdown to that proportions of even after the presidential election paled in comparison to the meltdown on social media. Vol Twitter became a thing. It did, man. It became a force. It was awesome. It was. And I'm as glad, and all Vol fans, I don't care what our record ended up being or how we ended up playing against Vanderbilt, all Vol fans are as happy today as they were I had to cover that. It was a 1 year anniversary, so I thought I'd bring that up. So let's pick 4 conference championship games. I don't even know who's playing in the Pac-12. Who cares? But let's go Big 12. Oklahoma against Texas. Oklahoma trying to avenge their only loss of the season. Who do you got, Hook 'em Horns or Boomer Sooners? I really like what they've done at Texas. They're a lot better, and Kyler Murray is phenomenal. That Oklahoma offense is phenomenal. Again, I'm going to pick the offense to win this one, Oklahoma. I'm going to go against you on this one. Texas beat them once. Oklahoma's defense is terrible. Hook 'em Horns. I'm going with Texas. All right, Clemson Tigers. Their mighty foe is the Pittsburgh Panthers. Mark May's not playing for Pitt anymore. Clemson's 25-point favorites. How did we get such a mismatch in a conference championship? What a joke. Does Pitt have a chance? Well, Tony Dorsett and Johnny Majors and the Pittsburgh – Dan Marino. That was 1977. No, Pittsburgh doesn't have a chance. Now, they're a team that pulls some upsets. They beat Clemson Pittsburgh and Syracuse. Pittsburgh and Syracuse are a couple of teams that can pull some upsets, but not in this championship game. 2 years ago. If Clemson loses, are they still in? Why is nobody talking about that? I think if Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and Oklahoma and Ohio State wins, Clemson cannot lose. I don't think they can lose that game. Not as 25-point favorites. Ohio State versus Northwestern, Big Ten championship. Why are we picking this? Ohio State's going to blow them out. Ohio State's going to blow them out. I agree with you. I got Ohio State. All right, we got 2 minutes. Wind it down with the best of all. I called it a de facto national championship, 1 against 2. I think Georgia's the second best team in the country. In my mind, right now they're playing better football. They're picking the right time than the Clemson Tigers. This is going to be a great game. Rematch of the national championship. Alabama won it 26-23 in overtime last year in the Georgia Dome. Scott, break it down. Alabama wins. You got Alabama wins. I think this is going to be a great contest. If I was Alabama, I'd be worried about a couple things. Number one, the revenge factor in this game. Number two, Isaac Nada, a mismatch at tight end, the best tight end in college football, and DeAndre Swift out of the backfield, isolated on linebackers. Alabama is going to have lots of problems with DeAndre Swift. Conversely, if I'm the Georgia Bulldogs, Tua is on a roll. 6 touchdowns in the Iron Bowl. This guy is having an incredible season. I think he's going to win the Heisman Trophy. I'm not sure that Alabama wins this game. It's going to be a very high-scoring game. Okay, very high-scoring game. I got it 41-31. My heart says Alabama. My head says Georgia's going to pull the upset. I got Georgia by 10 points. They're going to shock the world. Alabama's going to get in the 4th playoff spot, and they're going to play Georgia in a rematch in the playoffs.
Alabama by 2 touchdowns. That's it for this edition of the Shasteen Show. For Smash and Ken, I'm Scott Shasteen. Be good to each other.
The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma and brought to you by Southern Community Bank, Rogers Insurance Group, and Mission Collision, is a presentation of Bowman Media Company and 93.9 The Duck. The show is taped before a live audience at London's in downtown Tullahoma, Monday nights at 6 p.m. Come join us for cold beer and Tullahoma's best burgers. Thanks for watching The Shasteen Show on LightTube Channel 23.